Guardian Angel by Lily Penwielder. Read by Niche-lle. Chapter 5. Same day, April 12th. Izuku is not the only one flagging. Eraserhead is huffing for breath, starting to wear down from the continued onslaught, and Izuku himself isn't much better. Eraserhead pushes himself forward, and Izuku finds himself struggling to follow. His feet hit the ground, and it's jarring enough that Izuku stops moving at all, frowning down at his feet. He can still pass through the ground if he really focuses on it, but when he tries to float or fly after the hero, he can only manage a small hop before his shoes are slamming back down again. Final boss. Eraserhead mummers, and Izuku's gaze snaps back up because one of the villains that had been hanging back by the fountain is finally making a move, and Izuku needs to. He needs to. He runs like he hasn't been able to in a year, red shoes slapping against the dirt as he pushes himself to go faster. The villain's hand closes around Eraserhead's elbow, and right as the distinctive black hair flops back down around his face, Izuku smacks his own hand against the hero's back, turning him intangible. The villain growls as his hand slips right through Eraserhead's arm, and then he turns and glares right at Izuku. "Looks like there's a bug in the code," he snarls. "And you know what we do with bugs." It takes Izuku an embarrassingly long second to realize he can no longer use his invisibility and intangibility at once. "Oh, and I'm not the final boss." A hulking shadow appears behind them, and all Izuku can do is cling to the hero as tight as he can as a giant fist comes smacking down over the both of them. The mist villain vanishes from sight shortly after Ida does, and Kyoka has a single moment of fear that the villain has gone chasing after the class rep before he reappears below in the plaza where... Izuku! The scream builds in her throat, so sharp and harsh that she chokes on it at the sight of her friend, her partner, disappearing from beneath an attack so powerful the dust cloud billowing up from the aftershock alone obscures even the massive attacker from view. It's second nature to send a jack into the air, searching for a heartbeat, a voice, anything she can parse, because Izuku is dead and he can't die again, but she can't shake the fear that he could still vanish, faded away to wherever ghosts go, and she'd never see him again. Eraserhead's pulse beats steadily, and she lets out a sigh of relief, even as the hero speaks with obvious confusion to the boy who appeared beside him from nowhere and won't let go of his arm. And then Izuku answers, a wariness in his voice Kyoka has never heard before. "I don't have much time left, but I can stop the creature for you, so you should go for the leaders." Kyoka's eyes widen because she doesn't know what that means. Not much time left. But it can't be anything good, and now that she's looking for it, Izuku's doing that staticky, flickering thing he'd done when they'd first met. Patches of him fading in and out of view, like he's struggling to go fully one way or the other. He takes a step forward, and it is a step. Izuku's feet are dragging oddly along the ground like he's forgotten to walk instead of hover, and she can't really see him from this far away, but the way he's stumbling and mumbers encouragements to himself is a red flag all on its own. Kyoka can't reach him, not in time to stop this anyway, but she's sure as heck going to try, damn it. There's a reason Izuku never faces people through solid things. He's faced through solid things himself, of course, walls, floors, ceilings, doors, but he's never taken others through them like that, and it's not because he can't. When he passes through things, if he stops using intangibility, even for a second, he gets spit back out. It reminds him of a UA student he'd seen in an old sports festival video, way back before. The student had passed through the floor in the same way that Izuku does, and shot back out from somewhere else as well. But his clothes had gotten left behind because the student's quirk, the ability to phase through things, was something only the student himself possessed. The limitation of his quirk lay in the fact that he could not extend it to other things outside of his person, i.e., things like he was wearing or holding. Izuku is different. Izuku can take other things with him, and the intangibility encompasses them so thoroughly that they also don't lose their clothes. It's almost like they become a single entity for the duration that he extends his power to them. But here's the thing. The ability is Izuku's own. The ability itself does not pass on to the person that he's holding. And that means, if Izuku were to take someone through a floor, if his hand were to slip, if he were to accidentally let go, what do you think would happen? Izuku hasn't tested it, not even on trash or random items, but he's taken people by the hand and slip just their sleeves through the walls, or the soles of their shoes through the floors, and he doesn't need to test it to know what would happen next, because he's seen what it does to the sleeves and the soles, and they don't so much as phase as they do fuse, and Izuku would never, but if this creature, this Nomu, has really been created to kill All Might, then can anyone even stop it? Does it still count as being alive? Would doing this even kill it? Eraserhead leaps forward, and the creature makes to grab him, but Izuku had only released his grip on the hero so that he could grab the Nomu instead, and so the large bulky hand passes harmlessly through Eraserhead's back as Izuku steels himself and slowly, ever so slowly, begins to sink the creature into the ground. He won't go too far, he promises himself. Just far enough to permanently trap the hands and feet, just far enough to stop it. And then the front door slams open, as All Might himself arrives, and Izuku's hand slips too early. The end of the USJ incident is anticlimactic in Kyoka's opinion. Without their weapon to aid in the attack, the main villains had fled, vanishing through a portal before All Might could even reach them. The small fry were dealt with. The Nomu attempted an attack, lifting itself free by the arms and basically ripping itself in two to escape the earthly grave that had swallowed its lower half, but Todoroki had appeared and frozen it solid before it could regenerate more than its knees. Aizawa-sensei began rounding up the class, marking down everyone accounted for as more and more heroes arrived to escort everyone out. And through it all, Izuku had remained standing in the same spot he'd been in when All Might had arrived, as if he too had been frozen in place by Todoroki's ice. Kyoka is hesitant to approach him. He's no longer flickering, but he's also no longer moving, and the closer she gets, the more she can see him shake. She is not qualified to deal with this, but in a manner that is quickly becoming her mantra when it comes to the ghost boy, she is sure as heck going to try, damn it. Maybe she should put it on a t-shirt. Kyoka is almost close enough to call out to Izuku when seemingly out of nowhere, Bakugo reaches him first. Deku, what the fuck are you doing here? Don't you know how much Auntie was? Kyoka never finds out what Auntie was, because Bakugo leaps at Izuku to tackle or hug or shake him by the shoulders. She doesn't know, but promptly falls right through him, catching himself on his hands before he can faceplant. What the fuck? The blonde whispers, wide eyes as Izuku slowly blinks, seemingly shaking himself from whatever spiral he has been trapped in, and turns his head to face him. Kachan? The word is almost snatched away by the wind, for how softly it is uttered, but still, Kyoka manages to hear it. She finally reaches Izuku's side, not even bothering to grab him. He's always had a transparent look to him, but now he seems positively translucent, washed out in a way she's never seen before. Not once in the long year they've known each other. She can't shake the feeling that if she manages to touch him, he'll shatter into nothing in her hands like glass. I'm dead, Kachan, Izuku says, voice drained and exhausted, as he hangs his head. I'm just a ghost. Bakugo's face does something odd, twitching and paling in turns as he stares. You didn't. No! Izuku responds, cutting off the question with a sudden burst of energy. I didn't! The silence stretches, so quiet and still that Kyoka doesn't even need her quirk to hear Aizawa-sensei's steady approach. Izuku is the one that breaks it. But it looks like you were right in a way, huh? I died, and now I'm a hero. I didn't say you'd become a hero, dipshit. I said you'd get a... And Bakugo cuts off suddenly, eyes wide as he stumbles to his feet. A quirk, dumbass, a quirk! The doctor said you never had that stupid toe thing, and they never found the body. What? What are you... Oi, teacher head! Turn this fucker's quirk off, will ya? It's a testament to Aizawa-sensei's nature that he grumbles who even is this kid? Under his breath, while still complying with the barked demand. Two things happen at once then. Izuku slams back into solidity, more full of life and color than he'd ever been before, and a steady heartbeat she's never heard before pulses through Kyoka's ears. Izuku wavers on his feet, tilting unconsciously to lean into Kyoka's side, and it's warm, so warm. Even as Izuku gasps for breath he hasn't needed in ages. She can hear him start to panic, his pulse thrumming and racing as he struggles through the shock, and Kyoka would be struggling to process it too if she weren't so focused on calming him down. Do you know what this means? She manages, gripping him tight and giving him a shake. Turns out it was vigilantism. Izuku gasps out a laugh that turns into a sob, knees buckling as he crumples to the ground, and Kyoka tightens her grip reflexively as she sinks beside him, refusing to let go even for a second. Sorry, Izuku manages, tears streaming down his face as he laughs. I'm just really hungry. And Kyoka cradles him close, relishing in the constant beating of his heart beneath her palm and in her ears. Yeah, she whispers, sudden moisture making her eyes sting. I'll bet you are. Hey y'all, I finished! Sorry for the little break that was in between the chapters. I remember when I first read this story, I got so excited with Izuku basically having Danny Phantom's powers. And then it ends up actually being him having basically Danny Phantom powers. I'm so glad I have the full story out for y'all to listen to. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next one.